Hello and welcome along to this tutorial on Fusion 360. Today's tutorial is all about setting your page up in the correct way, just getting used to Fusion 360 as an interface. So perfect for people that have not used Fusion 360 before or have maybe a little bit of experience using the software but want to kind of get their page ready and set up. So I hope you enjoy today's tutorial and hope you get a little bit from it. Okay, so we're now in the Fusion 360 interface, and as you can see, it's a very clean looking interface, very user friendly. I think it's quite easy to just get drawing with it. And the first thing that I'm always struck to is you've got this top panel of commands, which I'm going to come to a little bit later on. What you've also got here is you've got this little cube in the corner, and what that does is it gives you an idea of which orientation you're working in and which area of the space you're actually working in. And if you press the home tool, it'll always home the page and the drawing, which is quite a handy little thing there as well. Now, the first thing I would tend to explore is I'd just click where my name is there, and I would come down to preferences, and the preferences really give you an opportunity to have a look at the different aspects of the page, the different controls you want to have on it, the drawing controls, the camera controls, the render controls. We're just going to stick with general for this tutorial. We're not going to do anything too hectic at the moment, and what we are going to do, the one little change we're going to make, I've already made it here, but it's default to be set for Y up. I want to change that to Z up, and I'm going to apply that and press OK. And what that basically means is that the Z axis is now the vertical axis, which means the green axis is actually the y-axis, and then we have the red one, which is the x-axis, and that just makes it a little bit easier to understand when it comes to drawing. Now, in terms of the drawing tools themselves, like I said, if you have a nice pull-down menu here, which is quite easy to navigate your way through, and it's fine to use when you're doing some basic drawings. What you might find is as you go into more complex drawing on Fusion 360, it can become quite cumbersome to keep coming to the top panel and looking for the commands you want to use. So hopefully this little technique will help you with that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw something basic. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my origins on. That gives me a very clear idea of which particular plane I want to draw on. So I'm going to select the top plane, and I'm going to press top here. I've selected the plane now, so now I want to draw. Now, if I press S on my keyboard, it actually brings up the model toolbox, okay? And I'll explain a little bit more about the model toolbox in a minute, but all I'm interested in here at the moment is this one, create sketch. So I'm going to create sketch on this plane, and then I'm going to press S again, and it brings up a sketch toolbox. Sorry, that's just disappeared. And what that sketch toolbox has is a series of drawing commands that I can use. And these are the ones that I tend to use the most. Now, I haven't really added much to this at the moment, as you can see, but I've got my line, I've got my center rectangle, my 2-point rectangle, and my spline. So I can just click on line, and I can get drawing straight away. And we'll explore drawing in a little bit more detail on the next tutorial, but I'm just going to draw something sort of very basic there at the moment, just to give you an idea. Now, what I can also do, if I just press S again, brings up my sketch toolbox again, is I can actually type in here another tool. So I'm going to look down here, I'm going to say, right, I tend to use offset quite a lot, okay? And that comes under sketch. So if I type in S, and I start to type offset, it appears as the first one, and I can press this little arrow. An offset will appear in my sketch toolbox, and every time I click on S and open up my sketch toolbox, there's offset. Okay, so I'm just going to stop sketch there now, and I'm going to press the house icon, so you can see that not quite perfect square has been drawn there. Now, what I want to do here next is I want to make this 3D. So there's a couple of different ways in which I can achieve that. Now, the first thing really is to go back to this idea of shortcuts. The first shortcut I want to show you is if I press S, it brings up my model toolbox. Now, model toolbox tends to apply to those tools that you want to use to kind of make things 3D or edit a 3D shape. In this case, extrude will make the shape 3D. So I'm just going to type in a distance there of 20 millimeters, and I'm going to draw it there, and I have my shape now in 3D. But there's actually an even better shortcut for things like extrude. If I just press E, some of the icons, actually the main ones, have their own letter shortcut, like extrude, for example. You can see line has as well with L, fillet has with F. So it's good to be aware of that as well. Now the other thing to be aware of here as well, so this is a basic 3D shape that we've got here. If I go down to the bottom here and I go to display settings, I can actually change my display visual style, for example. So I've got it on shaded with hidden edges. So I've got it nice, sort of, shaded in a kind of normal grey colour. And then on top of that, then I've got my broken lines, which I quite like when modelling in 3D, because it gives me a little bit more knowledge about my drawing with having the hidden edges on. Now I can have shaded with visible edges only, and it gets rid of those broken lines. If I go back in here again and I decide, right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go with this wireframe one. Then I've got the wireframe, I can go back in and I can explore all sorts of different ones there. Now I'm going to go back to the one I had it on, which isn't that one, it is this one, shaded with hidden edges, and I'm going to keep it on that one. So that's something else for you to be aware of. Now just while we're on kind of getting used to our interface here, I'm zooming in and out of my drawing, and I'm doing that with the middle button, the cursor button on my mouse. Okay, you can also, if you hold that down, you can move it around from side to side. And what you can also do is you can grab these corners and you can really kind of pivot around your project here as well, just in terms of being able to see different aspects of the project. So I hope that tutorial has helped out a little bit in terms of just getting used to the software. There'll be more videos coming on in terms of how to draw. We're going to look at the different aspects, different drawing techniques in the next couple of tutorials. Thank you very much.